And it's the Football Playbook with your boy RIC and a place to be. Ric Serritella, telling it like it is when it comes to your 13-3 Philly Dilly Eagles, the National Football League, NFL Draft. Oh, baby, buckle up. Richard Rosani, I did not forget you. I forgot to give you guys the best bet. We're going to roll with Dougie P this week. Dougie P and the Jaguars. I think they're going to romp. I think they're going to do it big. In a very big way. And if you want to go with the parlay, I do like Dallas as well. I think Dallas is going to embarrass the Commanders. You know, Washington, they shot their shot. I think they blew their load. The Heineken train, they ran out of coal there for Christmas on the little caboose that thought he could in Tyler Heineke. So, all right, back at it again. Wow, did we already get an hour of power down? Are you kidding me, Tone? An hour of power down, an hour of power to go on TFP episode 87 on this Football Friday affair, January 6, 2023. Hopefully we do have Coach Flip because I just booted Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN, the Sports Bash. We have Mike Gill slated for 11:30, one of my favorite personalities here in the tri-state / Delaware Valley area. So buckle up for that. Tone, let me know if Coach Flip chimes in or checks in. And if I got to give him a little nudge here and text him, let me know. I can. Otherwise, you know, we gave you the NFL pick'em right there. You know, the Giants, according to Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post and Mike Garafolo of NFL Network, they are reporting the Giants are going to play their backups. So that means what? Tyrod Taylor. That means what? Matt Breida. You know, that'll be a Buffalo Bills backfield connection. Both Breida and Tyrod Taylor coming over, you know, from the Bills there. And so, listen, the problem is they don't have, like, the wide receiver unit of the Giants already is the backups. Like, how many backups can they possibly have there? They don't have a lot of depth on the offensive line. So remember, Tyrod Taylor, he was injured earlier this year. I think he was in concussion protocol for like half the season. So he's going to be playing behind a half-ass offensive line. So those 6 sacks, what do they need? 6 sacks to tie the all-time record? They're within striking distance. And so I know, like, Fletcher Cox had spoken about, you know, that's on their mind. Jonathan Gannon said, you know, they're winning the one-on-ones so much, which is why they have so many sacks, and that's a big reason why. So, you know, on defense, like, again, they pulled Jalen Smith off the scrap heap, the former Notre Dame, Dallas Cowboys linebacker. And so, you know, they pulled him off the scrap heap. Coach Flip texted me that he's joining now. And we had our good friend, the Biz, Chris Bizzagano from the Giants Insider yesterday. His prayers were answered yesterday because, remember, he was on the show. He was asking me, hey, Rick, can you get me a Notre Dame quarterback? And I said, yeah, you know, you got to get some booster money. It's all about those NIL dollars now. Well, Sam Hartman, Wake Forest, sounds like he earned himself a nice little paycheck to go play for the Fighting Irish this season up in Notre Dame. Kind of a big deal for Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish. I'll tell you what, it's kind of a big deal when we have Coach John DeFilippo on the Football Playbook each and every Friday, checking in, getting his finger on the pulse. Good morning, Coach. How are you today?
What's up, guys? How we doing this morning?
Oh, baby, we're waking up to the wonderful news of Damar Hamlin waking up, having the breathing tube removed. First question, Coach, is did we win? And the doctors respond, yes, Damar, you won. You won the game of life.
That is 100% true. There couldn't have been a truer statement out there. And boy, I tell you, the outpouring of support for that young man and the way the teams rallied around him and everyone in the country really rallied around that young man. You know, our prayers, everyone's prayers were answered, and God's great. So, boy, I'm so happy that news was unbelievable when you got that this morning.
Oh, it's just going to uplift the entire football community heading into the final week of the regular season, and that's exciting. I think everyone can not completely exhale, but at least feel a little bit better about themselves taking the field and knowing that he is awake, he is alert, he has had communication with the Buffalo Bills, and it's been a story line that's dominated our show, the media across the country. It's captivated everyone, and so we've spent quite a significant amount of time on that, and we've also spent a significant amount of time dissecting this Jalen Hurts grade 2 sprained shoulder that, I listen to all the talking heads trying to speculate and guess and this and that. I said, hey, all you got to do is tune into the Football Playbook. We broke it all down. We talked about it last week, Coach. For those who weren't here last week, for the new listeners who are just checking in and may not have heard, but you, during your college days, suffered the same exact injury as Jalen Hurts. Now,
Yep.
Everybody heals different. Everybody reacts different. But you had explained that, while you did sit out the rest of the season, were you in a do or die situation? You said you felt like you could have given it a go. So I want to lead off again with the question. Initially, it was a 2-week injury. Here we are, I think, now with 3 weeks of rest. When Jalen does come back, do you anticipate him to be limited? If so, by how much? And how much do the Eagles change their offensive game plan, do you think?
Well, I tell you, I think you really got to be careful, be smart. And by the way, Richard, William, and Adam, what's going on, fellas? Appreciate you guys saying what's up. I think you really got to limit him running the football, as much as you can, because his rushes are going to happen naturally, when he takes off and goes and scrambles. So you're going to get 3 to 4 of those rushes, in the game already that aren't designed rushes for the young man. It's just the way he plays. And so I think you got to be very, very careful because, obviously it's a huge game, but, there's a lot bigger games that are coming forward after this one. So you want your guys close to 100% as you can.
So do you think, Coach, it's like be careful because we're just testing it out, trying to get a threshold for the pain tolerance because we want to know how much can we open it up in the playoffs, or is it going to be kind of this way even when we get to postseason play? Like, hey, we got to preserve Jalen. We got to be a little bit cautious because, as once you kind of relegate his role, the offense becomes less dynamic. What are your thoughts?
I agree.
There?
No, I 100%. Everything you said is 100% true, Rick. And when you're getting to the playoffs and it's a do or die situation every single week, you gotta let your players play. You gotta let it loose, and then worry about next week if you win. In my opinion, because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night as a coach knowing that we're in the NFL playoffs after the season the Eagles had, and I didn't give our players the best chance to win another world championship. Me personally, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So, do they have 5 quarterback runs instead of 7 designed? I don't know. That may happen, but I don't think you're going to see the exit of Jalen Hurts' athletic talents, in the playoffs wane at all because you got to win. It's do or die, and either you win or you go home. And those games are intense, and there's preseason football, regular season football, and postseason football. There's 3 different speeds in the NFL. There are. It's just you throw on the tape, and it's the truth. And so, those games are nasty. They're fun. And I expect nothing but Jalen Hurts, to be let loose.
Coach John DeFilippo here on the Football Playbook, talking from experience. He had the sprain of the AC in the throwing shoulder. So William Stark says, hey, Coach, we know Jalen Hurts can throw the deep ball. That's kind of been also out of the playbook here the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Will he still be able to wing it and fling it downfield with a ball velocity? Will he have less of the velocity? Will he have to adapt with touch and ball placement? Like, what will his arm strength be like because of this?
I think yes, he will be able to throw the deep ball, in my opinion. I do, because I think that if if you're going to send a player on the field, you're giving him every chance he can to protect himself and protect the team. You never want to put a player out there that can't protect himself, and part of that is protecting the team is throwing the deep ball to our receivers on the outside. So I do think he'll be able to throw the deep ball. I do. Again, I'm not a doctor. I know there are some ways where you can take some pain out of your joints in certain areas. If whether you pills or whatever. I'm not in that business. I'm a football coach. I let the doctors handle that. But there are some ways you can alleviate some pain. And whether that young man elects to do that or not, it's up to him and his guys and the doctors. So it's just a matter of how much pain he's in. But he'll be able to throw the deep ball for sure.
Good question. This has been dissected, Coach, a million different ways, and it's still being debated. Like, do you sit him another week to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs and then run the risk? If you lose, you fall to the 5 seed. Now the Giants.
Go out, you guys. Where we go?
Yeah, you back with us? The Giants are reportedly playing their backups.
Go. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, you're back, Coach. We got you. Kaya Kenji says they won't win in the playoffs. The teams know them. Well, that remains to be seen, my friend. But this is for the Division II, so there is a little bit of sense of an urgency. My question is, can he really, if he sat out another week, will he feel necessarily better? Can he necessarily hurt this further, Coach? Or is he going to most likely feel the same way this week as he will next week, do you think?
Anytime with rest, I think with an injury like this, you're going to feel better for sure. The question you get now, if you don't get that first round bye, is now the young man sat out, almost a month, and now you're going to the playoffs with your starting quarterback almost out a month. So if he's ready to play and he thinks he can protect himself, then in my opinion, I would let the young man play and, let him get some of the rust off in that game, win or lose or draw, so be it. But that would be that's what I would do. But again, at the end of the day, it's all up to Jalen, really, at the end of the day.
All right, we'll continue to see what we hear, what we think. And, we got Coach John DeFilippo of your world champion Philadelphia Eagles, of course, currently the New Orleans Breakers head coach. And I wore my Breakers colors for you today.
I love it. I was going to say that at the end of the show. Appreciate you colors, baby.
We should also mention that. So I don't know. I know you're a busy man assembling rosters, signing players. The spring, I think I saw 100 days away from kickoff for the USFL. We're excited about that. Buckle up. So not sure how much of the Saints game you actually saw, Coach, but Gardner Minshew, we talked about it last week, is somebody you've worked with. Shane Steichen called it just one of those games, and you just got to move on from it. Steichen said it was the worst game plan in terms of play calling that he's been involved with. So they didn't necessarily put him in a situation to succeed. I thought it was puzzling. I would have thought this was the week they wanted to get back on track with the run game, maybe alleviate some of the pressure from Gardner Minshew and not force him to have to put the team on his back and necessarily win the game. But they came out flinging the ball all over the lot. They went 3 and out, I think, the first 3 or 4 series because all they did was pass against a team that was really not that good against the run. Another topic that's been dissected all week long. What was your thought from the game plan that the Eagles implemented last week?
We've all been a part of those as a coach, unfortunately. And I saw Shane's comments there, and we've all been a part of that. I feel for him because there's a play caller, and there's always 4 or 5 plays that stick out to you throughout the course of your career that literally you think about almost every day, where you didn't put the team in the right spot, or you maybe a little bit too aggressive or not aggressive enough. There's always those 4 or 5 plays that kind of haunt you, and but you learn from them. And hopefully that, they got their worst game out of the way right before the playoffs, and you got a big game this weekend against the Giants. And, it's hopefully they got that out of the way and they know who they are. If Gardner does have to play, that's again another week that they know what to do with him, and hopefully he'll come out and play better. And the coaches feel like they put him in a better spot. They're still learning Gardner as well. That's that's kind of how that goes. And then you have those stinker games. The Eagles haven't had a lot of them this year. So you have a stinker game once in a while, sometimes late in the season. In 17, we were awful against the Raiders at home on Monday Night Football on Christmas night. I don't know if people remember that game. It was like 10-7 or something like that. They beat us on a sluggo on the outside, and then we managed to somehow score 10 points. The game was it was freezing cold that game. But sometimes you just have those late in the season, and guys are beat up, guys are tired, and that's not an excuse. But that's reality, and that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, listen, the adversity has been far and few between this season. It just happens to come in bunches down the stretch of the season. But the good news is they control their own destiny. It's the 180th meeting between the Eagles and Giants in this storied history. It goes back all the way to 1933, Coach. And I want to get a couple other quick thoughts in, so I'll ask you a prediction. Do the Eagles win? They're favored by 2 touchdowns according to Vegas. So that tells us
that.
Yeah, the Giants, I guess they're going to play their backups, Tyrod Taylor. They've been kind of close to the vest with that, but I'm gonna give Vegas the benefit of the doubt. They seem to
Vegas knows something. They know something.
How do you kind of see it though?
Well, I think the Eagles win this week. I think they take care of business, and there's too many good players. And the Giants, you know me, I've got a ton of love for Brian Daboll and his guys up there. I've said that several times on this show. Let me tell you something now. This is not. I'd be shocked if the Eagles cover. I'd be shocked. Okay. I hope I'm wrong, but I think 14 points against a well-coached team that plays their butts off, and you got a bunch of guys now this time of year. These young guys, okay, that are on the team for the Giants are looking to be added as a futures player. There's a lot of this is an important game for a lot of New York Giants on young players on Sunday.
Yeah, so what a turnaround in 1 year. I mean, whew.
I could see that coming in training camp, like I told you guys week 1. I saw that coming. And I hate that I'm not one of these guys that says I told you so, but you could just see that thing brewing in New York. Those guys had bought in, and it was easy to see when I went up and watched them practice.
It was interesting, too. I heard Brian Daboll implemented some mind games with Daniel Jones back in training camp where he was telling Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, he would actually tell Martindale the play so Wink would actually know what play was coming, and he wanted to see how Daniel Jones would react to that. So The defense actually knew what was coming, and he wanted to see how Daniel Jones would react to that kind of adversity. And I got to say, Coach, it looks like he's won the test. I mean, I think Daniel Jones will be back.
Good for him.
Right?
And you know what? Good for him. That young man's been through a lot. He's had a lot of different coordinators. He's had a lot of different head coaches. There's been a lot of change there for him. And hopefully for him, that's gonna be a stable environment for his future going on, because he was right there on the brink. I always say, one of the things I firmly believe in after doing quarterback study after quarterback study after quarterback study of these guys coming out of the draft is the number one factor for guys that have the really good success or non-success is how much change there is in their first 5 years. Okay. How many different offenses are you in? How many different head coach voices do you have? How many different offensive coordinator voices do you have? How many different quarterback coach voices do you have in your ear? Okay. Through the course of your first 5 years. I mean, think about Tom Brady here for a second, guys. I mean, what was he in New England? What?
20 years.
What was he? He's a year older than me, so he's 45. So he's been there since 1998, 99, drafted 99. Okay, he was there for that's 19 years or whatever, calling the same offense for 19 years. I'm not saying that's the reason Tom Brady's having success. He's obviously gifted and this and that. But Peyton Manning, look how long Peyton Manning was in the same offense. Drew Brees, look how long Drew Brees was in the same offense. And again, these guys are unbelievable players. Look at Patrick Mahomes. Been the same offense. Even Josh Allen, he had a different play caller, but he's still in the same offense. They promoted from within. There's just a bunch of guys that you can list that can say, hey, these guys, when they walk into the OTAs year 2, they know the offense, they know the cadence, they know where the locker room is, they know their position coach, they know the coordinator, they know the mannerisms of their teammates. It helps because the more, and I talk to our players about this all the time when you're trying to re-sign a player, the more anxiety you can get out of your life in pro football, the better. The more you know. If you know your coach, if you know your teammates, if you know the building, if you know the owner, if you know the GM, the more anxiety you can take out of your life, okay, the better you're going to play. And so I'm a firm believer in that. And I know it was a little long-winded there, sorry, Rick and Tone, but that's just when I'm passionate about something I believe in, I have a tendency to ramble a little bit.
Yeah, easier said than done. Sounds simple, but it's not so easy, my friends.
The average, if you looked, I did a study about, and this may have changed, guys, so I don't know, but I did a study 5 or 6 years ago, one off season, and I took percent change on NFL teams, players and coaches, and it was 33-point-something% that year. So you're looking at a third of the coaching staff, a third of the team is different. So the more you can keep the same and doing your job, the better.
Yeah, and while you were talking, it made me think of a guy like Jason Campbell. Remember, there was a time out of Auburn, first-round pick, for like 8 or 9 straight seasons. This guy had a different
Alex Smith was the same way.
Yeah, Alex Smith. And to that point, like even a Sam Darnold, he was with a slew of coaches with the Jets.
Absolutely.
Carolina, the OC, and it's just been a revolving door.
Geno Smith, another guy that's having a great year. So the same offense 2 years in a row. I mean, it's just – guys, I'm just telling you, the amount of anxiety that an NFL quarterback faces on a day-to-day basis is just
yeah. Like, well, speaking of study, sorry to cut you off. We had a question come in about this Sam Howell. I don't know if you had a chance to study him at all. Coming out of North Carolina, he's going to get the start or get showcased for the Washington Commanders team this week. He was at one time drawing Baker Mayfield like comparisons, where just kind of a shorter, undersized guy, 6 foot, 6'1", 200 or so pounds, can pick up the first down and move the chains with the wheels if he needs to. And he didn't exactly have the expectation season as a senior in North Carolina, but towards the end of the year, he showed some of the signs of why he was at one point at least considered a potential first-round pick. Obviously, Washington, another team trying to figure out the quarterback spot. Any thoughts on a Sam Howell?
Yeah, I was at their practice summer as well, and I saw him lead the 2-minute drive against he was running the first-team offense against the first-team defense on a 2-minute drive, and he completed a nice corner ball to start the drive and threw an under route on the second play. And then it was incomplete on third. Or incomplete. It was incomplete on first, second, completed ball on third, fourth, and they didn't get it on 4th and 5. So I saw him, go against there. And I think the way you describe him, Rick, is pretty spot on. He's shorter guy. Looks like he's built pretty sturdy, but he's just doesn't have the best arm talent in the world, but obviously was very productive at North Carolina. I'm excited to watch the kid play. I love when these young guys get a chance to play at the end of the season. I know they're out of it. I know the fans are pissed because we're not going to the playoffs and this and that. I get it, but as a coach, especially if you're coming back next year, you really want to see this young man play and see how he handles himself.
Hey, once upon a time, there was a quarterback in Washington. They didn't know what they had until they gave him a shot. Gus Frerotte. Remember that? He was just kind of sitting there, and why not? I mean, look at what the
draft pick out of Tulsa, baby.
Yeah, buckle up. Look at what the 49ers unearthed with Brock Purdy. Unbelievable.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, and last one for you, Coach. I know you got to go. Good question came in from the chat about, we talked about late season adversity. Now, Darius Slay a couple weeks ago kind of pointed the finger at Josiah Scott. This past week, A.J. Brown pretty much kind of sort of threw Gardner Minshew out under the bus with the pick 6, saying, hey, he didn't look up. He didn't see me. And, if that's the case, why not just go and address that with Gardner? Do we really need to air out our dirty laundry to the media? And what are your thoughts there? Should somebody pull A.J. Brown aside? I mean, he's one of the best players on the team. I think he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying. How do you handle a situation like that?
I bet you that Coach Sirianni addressed that with him for sure. I mean, that's something that you have to address with your players, and that's your job as a head coach, is to make sure that stuff doesn't happen or you alleviate it as much as you can. It's late in the season. Guys are tired and a little cranky at this point, right before the playoffs, and you're ready for the playoffs to start. And that holidays are going on and this and that, and your old lady at home's mad at you. And just it could be it could just be a little it could be a tough time of year. And so I get it. It happened. I guarantee they hugged it out, and Gardner's probably like, yeah, I did screw that up, and just knowing Gardner, and those things happen when you're in a close proximity of type A people, all type A alpha dog people. Things like that are going to happen, and you don't want to ever see your dirty laundry aired out in the media, but it happens, and you move on.
Yeah, it's been relatively minimal, so I'm not going to get on them too much for that. All right, before we let you go, USFL season kicking off 100 days away. Of course, you are head coach of the New Orleans Breakers. What can you tell us? What can you share with us? What can we expect? Any announcements that we should be tuned in for, Coach? I don't want to get you in trouble now, but what can you share?
I'm just excited to be a part of it and get going here. We got the head coaches meetings out in Los Angeles coming up here in January, so we'll get a lot more information on who's playing what and where, and I'm just excited to get out there and be a part of it. And we'll know a lot more in January.
Well, I know we're going to have a lot of Breakers fans here on the show. We'll have to do some.
Thank you, Dank. Thanks, Adam.
We'll have to do.
Thank you, William.
We'll have to do some Breakers jersey giveaways or something.
Let's go.
We'll come up with some contests here. But Coach, I always appreciate the time, my brother. Be cool, be safe, and hopefully we have you right back next week on a Football Friday affair.
Already looking forward to it, guys. Hey, have a great weekend, everybody.
Buckle up, double chin strap affair when Coach Flip checks in. And Kaio, Ken G, thank you, man, for the support and welcome to the show. In terms of being critical for the coaching staff, and A.J. Brown should have thrown Shane Steichen under the bus, I don't disagree with you there. And, in terms of being critical of the coaching staff, I think we have been, not just all week long, all season when we needed to. And so, I know we got to try to turn that frown upside down with KO Ken G. Maybe after Jalen Hurts back in the saddle blows the lid off the big blue 31-10. Coach Flip thinks it'll be a little bit closer. I think Jalen Hurts is going to get back in the saddle, restore the confidence. And when we come back on Monday, everybody should be cool, calm, and collective, just like Jalen Hurts. Make yourself a little cucumber mojito. Sit back, relax, enjoy the bye week, and just wait and see who will play on January 21st. 7 days away to the Super Bowl, 15 days away to the Eagles round 1 playoff matchup. The tailgate takeover is going down once again. Parking lot G2, if you're going down, they'll be out there 6 a.m., setting it up, chopping it up. Dank, Richard Rosania, KO Ken, Adams Exploits, everybody in the chat room. Good to see you. We're going to take a quick break, pay some bills. When we come back, my guy, Mike Gill, is going to offer some insight and perspective here on the Football Playbook. We didn't see Mike last week. He was off from his radio hosting duties. I don't want to drag that man back on his day off. I know he's been dealing with some laryngitis, some voice issues. He was down at the Tropicana yesterday. I was able to tune into some of the show. Going to pop him up here right after the commercial break. Make sure you smash that like button. It's all brought to you by the Ocean Casino Resorts. Going to take a quick break, pay some bills. In 2 minutes, we'll see you.